some flag?
Not that really.
Oh, that's nice. Fortunately, our friend Lee Hyun-seo is going to make a speech about this subject. Listen carefully if you want to learn amazing facts about it.
Everyone, please give the big applause to Hyun-seo about the rising sun flag. Good morning, everyone. Do you know this flag? Either do you know what does it mean? Oh, how about this one? Do you know this flag and what does it mean?
No.
Okay, that's right. It is Nazi Germany flag that everyone knows what it means. It was used by notorious person Hitler during World War II. Also, that symbol is mostly forbidden to use in Germany. Surprisingly, Nazi Germany flag and rising sun flag have the same meaning. This flag, which is called 우길기 in Korean and rising sun flag in English, was used by Japan's army to symbolizing their militarism and justifying their invasion during the World War II. Under the name of this flag, they committed the war crime, the Second World War II. During wartime, they invaded my country, Korea, China, and many Asian countries. They massacred innocent people, and they committed many cruel crimes like an evil. They treated people in their colony as toys. They cut people's hands just for having fun, and did practice with the rifles and swords by binding people on trees and shooting them and even bomb them in order for their family not to find them. And also, they use women and young girls as sexual slaves. Consequently, about 20 million of people were fall victim to Japan. In case of Germany, they admitted their fault in the past, apologized to countries that were Germany colonized. However, the government of the Japan denied their invasion, and also they even still using that flag as a symbol of their military force without any apologizes. In addition, some Japanese did drawing the symbol on their face and waving sun rising flag on international matches, for example, Olympic, Asian Games, and World Cup. It is same as Germany did drawing Haken Cruz emblem on their face and waving Nazi flag. Another problem is that many global brands are making their products about the rising sun flag. It is necessary to prohibit the using of the sun rising flag. And I wish that not only Korea, China, and other Asian countries people which were invaded by Japan, but also non-Asian country people recognize about this fact and see them with awareness. I hope there will not be rising sun flag waving around the world anymore. Thank you for your attention.
Wow, it was very valuable time to learn about the social issue which is closely related to our country.
Wait, there is one different content compared to the last speech contest. We are going to receive questions from anyone, any students, or any judges are fine. Please raise your hand if you have any curiosity to this theme.
Why do you choose this?
Exactly, I met at Japan because they tried to come Jeju with rising sun flag. And also I want to promote about the rising sun and its meaning.
I'm just curious that if world organizations such as UN are not restricting the usage of this rising sun flag. Rising sun flag is like you said that it is a symbol of like Japanese military or something like that. And is UN not prohibiting or limiting the usage of this flag?
Yeah, that's not the problem as the law, but it is a problem to many Asian countries were invaded by Japan because they have many sad and tragic history for Japan.
Actually, some people are still inaugurating the picture of that flag in Facebook. Yeah, in SNS, for example, like Facebook. And why didn't you point out this problem?
I just want to talk about the rising sun flag, not the problem of the rising sun.
What do you think about Islam?
Oh, sorry.
What do you think about Islam? Islam? What do you guys think about Islam?
Why are you asking that all of a sudden?
I'm giving you guys some time to think about it before anyone asks to you guys. Are you guys ready to answer the questions?
Yes. Then let's call Haywan out. 1, 2, 3,
Everybody, what do you think about Islam? As a religion of violence, peace, or just like other religions like Christianity and Judaism? I believe the majority of you will think that Islam is a religion of violence, and Muslims as suspects, terrorists, and man supremacists. Please take a look on this graph about feelings towards 9 religious groups. The higher the rate, the warmer the feelings are. As you see, Muslims has the lowest rate. How did Islam get this bad reputation? The bad reputation of Islam goes back to the Crusades in the 11th century. The Holy Roman Empire made a religious propaganda depicting Muslims like barbarian and fanatics. This is the propaganda that I got in the internet. And still today, the traditional image of Muslims has been more or less replaced than with a new image, the Islam extremist. The brutal image of Islam worsened after the 9/11. And for a decade, media and faulty generalization affected people's opinion negatively on Islam. First, let's talk about the media effect. According to the University of Alabama, a text by Muslim received an average of 105 news headlines compared to others just 15. This is a picture, and this research proves that media love to portray Islam negatively. Secondly, generalization of extreme minority, Muslim terrorists on all Muslims, forms of students on non-believers. Muslims are the same students and teachers like us. Only difference is that they are assumed as terrorists. Till now, I talked about the external factors of Islam's bad reputation. So now you would expect me to talk about the inner factors, problems inside this religion that intrigues terrorism. But the problems inside the religion doesn't exist at all. So I will explain why Islam outlaws terrorism. First, Islamic rules of war is against terrorism. The rule says Muslims can use violence only as a self-violence as a final solution. And Muslims should stop the war if the enemy requests for the peace treaty. As I said, looking at these rules, I can feel Muslims' reluctance towards violence, and Muslims are peace-loving people. Secondly, have you heard about jihad? Jihad is often declared by terrorists to justify their terrible, brutal acts. And its a second meaning is actually striving to overcome obstacles that keeps them away from God. And it is actually compared with the war, holy war, but it's not true. Jihad has stringent conditions as well as the Islamic rules of war. As an example, it can be considered a jihad if innocent people and Muslims die during the process. So we can say jihad of terrorists isn't the jihad of the true Islam. Finally, Quran states there can be no compulsion in religion. Muslim terrorists completely outlawed this verse. To sum up, I talked about how Islam got its bad reputation and how Islam outlaws terrorism. So, do you know 85% of terror happens in the Islamic world? It means Muslims are the biggest victims of Islamic terrorists. Nevertheless, peace-loving Muslims are blamed for terrorist actions while their friends and family die from terror. Lastly, what I want to say is religion is never the problem. It's the people who use it to gain power. Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Okay, go on.
But I actually agree with you, but I just want to acknowledge you one thing that actually, like you said, the understanding of if Muslims or something like that, with two posters, like one is from Islam terrorists and one is from Christianity terrorists. But I just want to say that actually, especially in Korea, that terrorists does not represent themselves, but it also represents Christianity. And in Korea, these Korean people actually say Christianity as 개독교, and it actually curves the Christianity. And do you have any ideas of this?
I believe way more than Christians, Muslims are criticized for their terrorist actions. There's all these evidence that I've got.
I understand that most Muslims are Islamers and they are not related to terrorism. But there still exists some terrorists in Muslims. So what made them make so I mean what made them become twisted and
In some verses in Quran, they say that they should kill all those non-believers, but these kind of verses actually contradict to its own book, Quran, because Quran is based on a lot of historical issues, and those really extremist verses are from the situation when terrorist groups like ISIS in Baghdad actually try to prosecute the religion Islam. So they believe in those kind of extreme verses, but that should actually not be. That isn't actually Islam that most Muslims believe in.
Okay, no more questions? Okay, yes.
I really wanted to be an adult. I hate my mom limiting me on everything, and I hate also your uniform. I feel like I'm living in a cage. There's nothing I can do.
But there are also things that could be enjoyed in this age, Champ. Don't be too depressed.
That doesn't make me feel better.
Oh, I have a solution for you. Let's listen to Hey Ju, Hey Won, and Hey in speech about life in our age.
Please pay attention to three girls, Hey Ju, Hey Won, and Hey In speech.
Hi, we are
Hey In, Hey Ju.
and he won. We are Triple H. Have you ever experienced that you weren't able to do because you're too old? Well, at least I had. Everyone said no when I tried to ride this toy car. Not that I didn't, but still. This day was my birthday. This day I remembered the time when I was young. Wanting to ride the car. That day was my birthday too. However, the poor little me had no friends. So the pretty birthday girl returned home, leaving the toy car alone. Anyway, when I took this picture, I looked back the time, that cold memory, and decided to write now. So did I have fun? Not really. Maybe yes if I was young. But unfortunately I grew. Not as much as her, but I did. Hey, a toy car! Yay! Time was over. Toy cars aren't fun anymore. So we want to tell everybody that youth is limited. There are activities that you can only enjoy in a limited amount of time. Enjoy your youth before it runs out.
Why? A very simple question. It's because you regret it if you don't enjoy your youth in the future. People these days are very busy working and often forget about important factors in their life such as youth. And people tend to think that their duty is the top priority and leaving their enjoyment behind. And I feel very sorry for them. If they keep ignoring this aspect until they're old, they will definitely say such things like,
I miss the old days. I wish I enjoyed my youthhood.
However, some of you may think that we could work hard when we're young and then enjoy our youth after. But have you seen an aged person playing with teddy bears or dolls? No, right? You would rather see them showing off their newly made fancy dentures.
I got my newly made denture.
Really? Me too. Mine is gold.
Wow.
Like this, there's always a specific time where a specific activity is fun. And this activity constantly changes as we age. And if we lose this time, which is limited, that activity that we thought was exciting won't be fun anymore. And actually it will be considered as a boring thing or an embarrassing. To give an example for this, we have role playing. We used to play this game when we were in kindergarten and when we were young. This game was one of the best games when we were young. And this game was the miracle game that no one was bored of. However, no one actually plays role playing now. And no one even mentions about it. The reason why is because the limited time of us thinking that role playing is fun is already over. It's like a dead battery and it won't come back. So consequently, what I want to say is there is always a perfect timing for anything. And if that time passes without doing that action, we will be full of regrets that we didn't enjoy that action that time. To sum up, imagine smiling without teeth, or traveling around the world on a wheelchair because your legs are aching. That would be pretty tragic. And I want to tell you that we only live once, and time waits for no one because it's too impatient. And lives their own life. And I want you guys to enjoy youth better and more. And I want to have a more enjoyable life. So what are you doing? Go on and live your life. Is there any questions?
We should enjoy our time and live our lives, right? What are you guys doing to enjoy your time and live your lives right now? What do you eat? But isn't that unhealthy and that might affect your life later on?
It's later.
Okay.
Go for another questions? No questions?
Do you guys enjoy your youth?
None?
Then let's move on to the next thing.
Okay, do you feel better now? Yes, I'm going to love my youth starting today.
Oh yeah!
I'm satisfied enough with my life. The work looks beautiful.
Yes. Are nuclear weapons that dangerous?
Yes, of course. That's a really, really dangerous. If I believe nuclear weapons should be banned.
Really? Why?
I can't tell exact reasons, but 의송, 여준, 한약, 그렇습니다. Please tell us the reasons, boys.
Hello. My name is Nansu, and my name is Chanyo, and he is Yeonjik, and he is Lisa. In the modern world, there's a lot of threatening, such as war and lack of resources and food and discrimination. And when we choose our topic, nuclear should be abolished, which is related to war. And now we start our presentation. First, we will start with a simple description. And nuclear weapon is an explosive device that drives its destructive force from nuclear reaction and fission, or from a combination of fission and also fusion reactions. These bomb types release large quantities of energy from just small amount of matter. The first of nuclear weapon release an amount of energy approximately equal to 20,000 tons of TNT, and especially there's a thermonuclear weapon which made by fusion reaction. I think before fusion reaction. This thermonuclear weapon is nuclear weapons weight is 2,400 pounds, which is almost same weight 1,100 kilograms. This weapon has energy that almost same as 1.2 million tons of TNT. And now we'll explain next.
It is obvious that harnessing nuclear weapons for murdering people in wars is very dangerous. Then why are they so devastating? Or what are some effects of using this weapon? First of all, it can just blow everything in the region of the explosion, including atmosphere and clouds. Scientifically, when it explodes, it creates tremendous amount of air, and when there is no more space for air to form, that air begins to spread out. And during this process, it creates really strong wind, which people think as a tornado or something. This can blow just everything in that region. And moreover, radioactive matters in the post-nuclear weapon can be permitted underground, and this can make not only human but also plants and animals impossible to assess in that region. To make it worse, as I mentioned previously, the wind formed because of the explosion can blow the contaminated soil everywhere, which can be the danger of using nuclear weapon even more worse. And of course, it can kill lots of people easily. But have you ever thought about the strength of this weapon? People can disappear only in a second without any trace, such as bones or skins. And even if those people are alive, survive from the attack of this weapon, they're likely to be contaminated with nuclear substances, so they got high possibility of getting cancer, potentially, or sometimes they get modified fetus when they get married in the future.
Two of the most prominent examples are the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombing. This incident was the case of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945 in order to bring about the surrender of Japan during the Pacific War. There is no other uses of atomic bombs in the history for the purpose of killing. At this time, people couldn't imagine how powerful the atomic bombs were, and also risk of radioactive was not clearly explained. In August 6, 1945, the United States dropped a nuclear bomb on Hiroshima. In detail, almost 70,000 people died immediately when the United States dropped a nuclear bomb on Hiroshima. Because of the shortage of medical supplies, patients became more vulnerable to exposure and related illnesses. And at the end of the 1945, almost 140,000 people died. And in August 9, 1945, the United States also dropped a nuclear bomb on Nagasaki. This nuclear weapon that killed people about 40,000 to 75,000 people immediately, and by the end of the year, total of 80,000 people died.
So in conclusion, weapon nuclear bomb is explosive material that can destroy everything, and some typical examples, Eun explained Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and also it caused the problem of environmental, so we believe nuclear weapons should be abolished. Thank you for listening to our speech.
Any questions?
Nuclear weapon is quite a serious problem that can't be solved easily. So I want to ask you, why did you decide to talk about it in the speech contest?
War is always the issue every time searches. But past time and modern time, every time war is being issue. And especially the nuclear bomb is hot issue in the modern world, so we try to want explain about this topic.
So there's a theory called mutually assured destruction, MAD, which basically says the reason there's not been another war like World War II is because there are so many nuclear weapons that if they were used, we'd all be gone. So actually having nuclear weapons keeps a check and balance by stopping us using them. If you remove nuclear weapons, you remove that check and balance, and another war like World War II could happen. What do you guys think about that?
But world is being developed in the way of social.
But not like World War II.
Yeah.
We're talking a war on a global scale, which is something none of us have ever experienced. You remove nuclear weapons, you create that possibility again.
But I believe remove nuclear bomb has enough value to face the problem of war.
What kind of damage do they get? What kind of damage does the victims get after the nuclear attack?
They got cancer or also other disease, but they mostly have exposure when they get the radioactive.
Last. Okay. Anyone?
Do you think all the countries can actually denuclearize their weapons?
It will be hard, but we just wish. That just wish.
This speech was really fresh. It was perfect opportunity to learn why nuclear weapons are dangerous and why they have to be abolished.
I'm able to tell others about risk of nuclear weapons now.
The next thing coming up is dealing with various ways of punishments in many different countries. I'm excited to hear sensational ways of punishments. Let's find out differences between many different countries together.
Please cheer Suyan, Sian, Karim, and Sajin up with a big class.
Does anyone know how countries punish criminals? There are like 200 of countries in the world, and they all punish in different ways. So we have researched about how countries punishes criminals like murder, drunken driver, a drug user, and a child sex offender. So first, as you see, it's the criminal code of Korea, and it says the murderer should be sentenced to death, life imprisonment, or at least 5 years in prison. So nobody in Korea had death penalty since 1985. Most of the criminals in Korea is sentenced to life imprisonment or at several years in prison. Next, in China, many of you will think Chinese law is strict, and that's right. It says the murderer is sentenced of death, life imprisonment, or sentenced to more than 10 years. But if the man kills someone due to negligence or in mistake, he or she is sentenced to minimum 3 and maximum 10 years in prison. Lastly, in USA, there are like 3 laws, and it's too complicated, so I will explain one. It's type A. It is divided into premeditated murder, willful murder, and negligent homicide. There are like 50 states in USA, and they all punish us in different ways. So, for example, in Pennsylvania, they divide premeditated murder into murder 1 and 2, and they accept death penalty to only murder 1.
Now I'm going to explain you guys about drinking and driving drinking and driving punishments from around the world. Firstly, Canada, the offense warrants loss of license for 1 year and the equivalent of a $600 fine. The second offense warrants 2 weeks in jail and loss of license for 2 years. The third offense warrants 3 months in jail and loss of license for 3 years. And secondly, Turkey, who is a little more creative, punishes drunk drivers by taking them 20 miles out from their town and making them walk back with a police escort. And lastly, Korea, which is lighter penalty than the other, driving with a blood alcohol content, also known as BAC of 0.05%, constitutes drunk driving in Korea. It takes around 3 shots of soju for an adult to attain a BAC of 1.05%. The criminal punishment for drunk driving is imprisonment for not more than 3 years or a criminal fine not exceeding 10 million. At the same time, the offender's driver's license will either be revoked or suspended for a period of time.
Many people explain that drug use has been practically decriminalized. However, drug has bring many withdrawal symptoms. For example, a symptom. I'm explain about punishment of taking or selling illegal drugs. First, in China, take drug shall be sentenced to at most 3 years and a small fine. An illegal deal in drugs shall be imprisoned for life or be executed. Marijuana shall be sentenced to at most 5 years or the maximum 50 million won in fines. An illegal deal in drugs shall be imprisoned for life or be sentenced to up to 5 years. In the USA, this place punishes difference in each state. Possession of drug, Washington up to 5 years in prison or a fine of up to $10,000 for possession of any amount of heroin. New York, 8 to 20 years in prison for possession of 8 or more ounces of narcotic drug. Kentucky, 2 to 10 years in prison and a fine of up to $20,000. California, between $30 and $500 in fines and 15 to 180 days in jail.
The last one is that about child sex offense. Sex offense is just as terrible crime as murder. It means crimes that related to sex and include rape or compulsory molestation, which is done without regard to other people's intention. First, the criminal is sentenced to 5 years in prison if the victim of a crime is under 13 in Korea. Even if the criminal is in a mental or physical weakness, according to the Article 10.2 of the Criminal Code of Korea, the punishment is reduced because lack of responsibility. For instance, there was an incident that an adult man called Joseph raped an 8-year-old girl in a bathroom, and his punishment was commuted because of reason that he was just drunk at the time. However, in China, the criminals are excused.
China, the criminals are executed if the victim is under 14, and in Yemen, they are publicly executed. And finally, in Singapore, the criminal is sentenced to flogging, which is a punishment for spanking. The flogging is executed with one doctor and two jailers and a criminal. Thus, we have searched about different punishments in each country. Through this process, we are able to know about which country's punishment is strong or weak. Thank you.
Q&A time. Any questions?
Is there any reason why all the punishments are different in each country?
Because it's the point of view for the human rights of all.
And they have different cultures.
Is there a reason for you to select some kinds of countries and this punishment and other countries and that punishment?
Because as she said last week, we wanted to know how they punish different ways.
And we thought Koreans' punishments are so weak, so we wanted to
Any more questions?
Among the various contracts you mentioned before, in what field should Korea strengthen the punishment for criminals? So you mentioned various fields of crime here and various crimes and punishment here. And in what field should Korea strengthen more?
The child sentence, the must had more little punishments because he was just murdered. So I think that should be
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, scary. Little minds behave properly not to get any of those violent punishments.
The Earth will disappear if a real nuclear war occurs, right? What will happen to us? Are we going to die in an instant?
I'm also curious about it. Let's ask Dong-won, Suas, and Gyun the moral effects of nuclear war. What happens when the nuclear war affects boys?
We are
CIA
Asians. Hey, Sergey. Why are you doing to your girlfriend? That's my girlfriend? Oh, man, I was just. What? Russia is going to launch a nuclear missile to USA? Can I just have a 2 cents in here? Russia is going to proceed using its nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons. Oh, look at it. It's so scary, right? I'm even shaking my boots. We have to need this plan of action.
Yes, especially you need that solution right now.
First, I believe we must investigate the reason why Russia is trying to fire their nuclear weapons. Let me stop you right now. They even don't know what they should be discussing at first. While they're discussing and pontificating this, Russia will still set up the bombs. So, if I were them, I would investigate how much damage could result from this explosion. Since Russia is going to do it anyway, rather than trying to figure out the reason why they're doing it, that's just ridiculous. Okay then, since Sua is complaining about us,
We will consider the approximate casualty of nuclear explosion then.
Okay. The expected damage of the nuclear explosion is going to exceed everyone's imagination. All life within the explosion radius will be wiped out completely, and the land will be barren.
Guys, let's stop talking ambiguous and let's take a look at some real cases that happen.
Guys, I just received an email. It seems to be about Chernobyl nuclear accident. Does anyone know about this?
No.
Okay, let's see. Chernobyl accident measured 7 out of 7 on the International Nuclear and Radiological Limit Scale introduced by the International Atomic Energy Agency. So it means it ranked the highest in the nuclear disaster measurements and was one of the critical nuclear-related accidents that have ever happened. In the explosion and ensuing fire, more than 50 tons of radioactive material was released in the atmosphere, and 32 people died in this explosion, and more dozens have suffered in radiation burn.
So target areas of nuclear bomb had hard time recovering. And people are still recovering from the nuclear bombs dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which means they have hard time of recovering it. So to prevent such damage, governments need to take definitive action.
Yeah, that's right. If the target is anything like Japan, that country would totally be ruined, in my opinion, huh?
I think that we should strike the nuclear missiles by anti-ballistic missile defense system is most crucial. However, if it fails, I think that governments can only construct some bunkers nationwide. Obviously, in case of nuclear contamination, I believe that there should be ample supply with provisions.
Just go ahead.
Sorry. There are numerous countries that already have implemented the SAT system. If we use the SAT system as a means of defense, we'll need to continue to developing it with more accurate technology. And if we keep developing it the perfect way, it will be sufficient way to prevent the nuclear weapon explosion.
But SAT is an expensive technology reserved for developed countries, which means that developing countries such as LDCs doesn't have enough money to purchase the SAT, which means SAT can't be a global solution to the nuclear missile and attacks.
No, that's very wrong, because if technology develops and the production of SAT increases, it's sure to follow that the cost of SAT will decrease, and it will be available for developing countries to equip and protect themselves. It's just simple economy, the law of supply and demand.
Yeah, I have something so obvious to say. Duh, even if governments cooperate, we can't prevent the damage of nuclear explosion, especially citizens remain motionless. If only the bodies of government have the privilege to move, nothing changes. The majority of people are still affected.
So pray tell, what can citizens do?
Guys, I think I know something. There's one way we can do when nuclear explosion happens. Yes. Close your eyes and cover your ears and lie down like this.
Oh dear, that doesn't make sense at all. Like nuclear missiles like flying here to a country and you want to lay down. Why didn't you just tell me to die?
No, actually it does make sense because it will reduce the light and sound that can harm us during the radioactive explosion.
So, did anyone survive?
Why don't you suggest any outcome of them? You haven't contributed anything worthwhile, and you have just repeated anything and everything that has just been suggested.
No, I just think like this.
Hey. In conclusion, citizens will never survive a nuclear disaster without government intervention. That's why government should work collaboratively with one another to find solutions to problems before they escalate into nuclear war. Simple diplomacy will minimize the need for nuclear attacks.
This is definitely inaction. That's ridiculous. Diplomacy? Please. There is absolutely no solution when it comes to nuclear weapons. Okay, then let's just forget about the reason that gave rise to international conflict. What about the idea of unifying the world?
That sounds quite good.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. Then next time, let's find a way to unify the world.
Wow!
That was so horrifying to hear the actual situations during nuclear war. I hope we can live peacefully without any wars between countries. Any questions?